Miyamoto Musashi was a legendary samurai who fought in several battles and won over 60 one-on-one life or death duels, never losing one. Not just an accomplished swordsman, but also an artist, painter, poet and Zen practitioner. In a previous video, we looked at the first half of Miyamoto Musashi's life with teachings such as practice over theory, walking alone, and why it's all about surviving. In this video, the second and final part of this video series, we will look at the second part of Miyamoto Musashi's life with additional lessons to learn from him, as well as a sort of applicable summary of his teachings at the end of this video. At age 30, Miyamoto Musashi, after his last one-on-one life or death duel against Kojiro, became reflective. He was thinking about that he didn't really know the way, and if all his successes could be even attributed to his real knowledge or his real skill, or just to luck. So he didn't drop the sword, he set out exploring the way in various endeavors. I thought lightly of myself and profoundly of the world. At age 34, he fought another large-scale battle. At age 36, becomes a guest of the Honda clan, around this time adopted a son, Mikinosuke. At the age of 37, Musashi expanded his creative pursuits by undertaking town design alongside other artistic endeavors. What we can see in those years is that Miyamoto Musashi combines battle with arts, which perfectly reflects the way of the warrior, or also called Bunbu Ryodo, maybe I should not try anymore to speak some Japanese, which Musashi followed in the second half of his life. The first kanji, Bun, means letter or arts. The second kanji, Bu, means martial or military. The third kanji, Ryo, means both. The fourth kanji, Do, means road or pass. Together, the two ways of brush and sword in balance. The ideal of a warrior in Musashi's time was someone good in swordsmanship, but at the same time also in the arts, like calligraphy, painting, garden design and so on. It is about keeping a balance between those two pursuits. Nowadays we can transfer to someone who seeks mental and physical stimulation at the same time to keep those two in balance. Not just, for example, excelling in some educational pursuit, which is mental stimulation, but also to keep the physical side fit. Perceive and know what cannot be seen with the eyes. The fundamental aspect of Miyamoto Musashi lay in his power of observing, a skill which proved invaluable in the domains of combat and the arts. It is not just passively seeing something, it is more like an act of deliberate and mindful observation. One's gaze should be expansive and far-reaching. This is a dual gaze of looking in, kan, and looking at, ken. The gaze for looking in is intense, whereas that for looking at is gentle. Ken, or looking at, is our seeing and logical thinking. It is when we see a technique, we try to copy it step by step, seeing it with our eyes. Kan, or looking in, is sensing or feeling. It is our intuition, which tells us, milliseconds before danger, that there is a danger. It is sensing the surroundings, the subtle signs that are difficult to express and put into words. The warrior must know the enemy's sword without even seeing it. Kan and Ken combined is observing, and we can only imagine how it helped Musashi in the arts. He designed gardens, he did calligraphy, he painted, he made tea ceremonies, and even designed a town. All of these artful approaches needed the ability to observe. Musashi wrote down 9 points to observe the way. 2 of them are: acquaint yourself with all arts, know the ways of all vocations. This is interesting because to grasp the essence of the way, or in particular the path of combat strategy, one must broaden their perspective. This means delving into disciplines and arts, like various disciplines and various arts. We can transfer to our modern times in the example of Steve Jobs. He combines the areas of art or design with technology in the form of Apple products. When we learn many areas, we can transfer knowledge from area to area and make connections where there were no connections before. I never drifted from the way of combat strategy. When Musashi was 45, Lord Honda died. Adopted son Mikinosuke committed ritual suicide. Musashi adopted around this time a second son, Iori, who started working for the Ogasawara clan, where Musashi became a guest. At the age of 57, he fought his last large-scale battle, and after he did travel. At the age of 59, became a guest in the Hosokawa clan. In the years became acquainted with Lord Hosokawa, who was a friend of the sword and brush. In the previous video, I defined the way as follows. The way is a path, literal or abstract, towards mastery and self-improvement. It is striving for excellence in the chosen path striving to master oneself, our thoughts, and our actions. In diving more into Musashi, I think we have to add to this a little bit. The way is a guiding force that underlies all things. It's difficult to define, and maybe it can't be defined at all. There's a lot of interpretation from my side going on, how I understand his words. If you know the way broadly, you will see it in everything. His artistic pursuits made him a better sportsman, and his sportsmanship made him a better artist. All things to better understand the underlying principles of all ways. Maybe I'm mistaken, but what I see or what I observe is that many athletes, even after their athletic career, are successful. Maybe, as I said, I'm mistaken, but let's take it as true. And this could be because they learn skills in their athletic career, which they then can transfer to another career path. For example, like they train hard, they never give up, and they are learning to discipline themselves. And all those things, they transfer to another career path. Because the way we do one thing, we do everything. And this also reminds me of extremely disciplined person, because when we look at an extremely disciplined person, it is not that this person is only like in one area extremely disciplined, for example, in his or her sport schedule, but also, for example, at work or at task at home and other areas. So this disciplined person is disciplined in maybe all or nearly all areas of his or her life. Central to Musashi's philosophy, so to speak, is the cultivation of an everyday mind. With all martial art postures, it is essential to maintain a combat posture in your everyday life and an everyday posture in combat. Imagine you are in a fencing duel and you have to think actively of your posture or your movement. Left foot to the front, right arm high or something like that. And in this case, our minds are too close, they are too narrow. Our intuition is, so to speak, blocked. And this happens because our minds are too focused. And this leads us to the point that when we want to get really good at something, doesn't matter what, we have to train it in every situations of our lives. It doesn't matter if it's an everyday situation, a competition, an important meeting, or whatever. In every situation we find ourselves in, we have to approach the thing we want to do with an everyday mind, like with an everyday mindset, as if we were in training. Because when our minds are too focused on something, as we saw before, we lose our intuition. When we are too calm about something, we are too less focused, and this leads to that we are also losing our focus in this. The mindset in the way of combat must be no different from one's normal state of mind. In the course of your daily life, and when engaged in strategy, there should be no change whatsoever in your outlook. Your mind should be expansive and direct, devoid of tension, but not at all casual. The mind is not static, even in times of calm. In times of haste, the mind does not rush. Both the high-spirited mind and the lethargic mind are signs of weakness. Let's take the example of me making this video and talking to this camera. My mind could be now excited or anxious, focused or unfocused, or stressed or calm. The point is now, according to Musashi, from my interpretation, is that I should approach this video take the same as I approach a normal conversation with a friend, like with my everyday mind, so to speak. That means I should not be too excited or too anxious, not too stressed and not too calm. And most importantly for me, because I know what my problem often is, not too focused, because when I'm too focused on what I want to say, I lose a little bit my intuition and my intuitive, authentic behavior, and at the same time not too unfocused, because that would lead to that I just talk without sense probably, or with just losing the red line. If I succeed in it, I don't know, but I at least hope that I could deliver the point of the everyday mind to you and that it's understandable. Bringing now Musashi's teachings from my interpretation, of course, together and combine them to practice our way. We have to find our way that fits us. There's no better or worse way. No matter what we do, we strive for excellence, to do it good. Practice, practice, practice. Practicality based on reality. Not being afraid of parting. Seek physical and mental training in balance. The way we do one thing, we do everything. Approach with an everyday mind. And last but not least, stay on your way. In the practice of all ways and arts, there is such a thing as a wayward spirit. You may believe that you're practicing your discipline conscientiously and on the right path, but you will deviate from the true way if your mind wanders. We are constantly dealing with distractions and troubles on our way, which try, so to speak, to push us away from our way. The antidote is to be present, because by being present, we just focus on our way and we try more or less to not get distracted away. Because in the end, it's all our responsibility. It's our life and our way. And now I'm really interested in what do you think about Miyamoto Musashi and his words? Do you agree with my interpretation? Or do you disagree? Or do you have maybe some changes to make? Please let me know for any of those questions in the comment. I would really appreciate it and we could discuss about it, or we can just talk normally in the comments about it. As always, I wish you a fantastic day and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you got some value out of it.